Hey everyone, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments. Today I'm showing a tutorial on how to use the pie dies. These two dies are great for creating a pie shape all around your page. And today I'm actually making a year in review layout since there will be 12 pie pieces all together. So there are two different dies that come in this set. There's the quarter pie die and the piece of pie die, which are both very important. The quarter pie die is basically going to be the frame that helps you get the pie shape all the way around the grid paper. And the piece of pie die will be used to easily cut your photos or paper, whichever one you want to use, within the quarter pie shape. And before you begin your layout, you definitely want to plan on where your photos are going to go and how they're going to fit within the frame piece. All right, so now that I've introduced you to dies, let's get started. I'm starting off with the quarter pie die, and as you can see, it's really big. My machine is really small, but I'm still going to try to put it in at an angle as much as possible. So if you have a bigger machine, this will be easier for you. And you roll it through. And it's a big die, so it'll probably make a lot of crunching sounds as it goes through. And the pieces pop out really easily. And just so you know, this die cut is pretty thin. So for this die, I want to use a base piece, which I am making now. This is the 5x5 square die from set A. It's the biggest die in the set. So I'm just cutting some extra cardstock. And this will go underneath my die and my photo so you won't see it, but this is just to help the quarter pie die be in place on the grid paper. Now I'm going to use my Herma Dotto adhesive. This is the removable glue, so it's not permanent at first. It does become permanent over time. And I'm just lining my square carefully on the grid paper, and the grid paper is great to make sure all these squares stay nice and straight, especially with this shape we're doing. So always put the glue in the corners or right in the center. A little bit is all you need. You don't need a ton of glue. And now that I have those down, I'm gonna start gluing my quarter pie die cut. So as you're gluing it down, be sure to glue carefully because this die cut is thin. You don't want to tear it or bend it. Sometimes if I bend it by accident, I can add some glue and it sticks on the page fine, but mainly I would avoid getting creases in it because that doesn't always look the best later, right? So I'm just finishing up with the glue here. I like to get some in each corner and on as many of the lines as possible. You want to make sure it's stuck down pretty good. Now I'm going to glue it on my base piece. Now the reason why I like the base piece is because this die is very thin and it can get distorted easily. So the base piece helps you see that it's all straight in comparison if you just glued it right on the grid paper. So it's handy. So I'm going to finish the rest of this page up, and so I'll be back in a moment. All right, I'm back and I'm going to glue down this last piece. As you can see the whole pie shape better now. So this is the final result you should be getting with all four sides. And you may need to, like I'm doing now, you may need to lift up and glue back down the frame a few times. So just keep in mind, give yourself some extra time to glue these frame pieces down because they are a little tricky. All right, so this is the final result when all four of the quarter pie pieces are in and you get the complete circle shape. So now I just need to fill it in with my photos and paper. So now I'm going to cut out the corner portion of the quarter pie die. I decided to use pattern paper for my page, so in the end it's going to look really fun. Each paper I chose, it represents a different season of the year. So I just cut enough to save paper. I only cut enough to fill in the corner. If you're like me, you want to save your pattern paper as much as possible. So if you are using pattern paper, like I'm going to be using this green sheet, and there's little icons on it that I don't want it to be upside down or anything, so I want to make sure my triangle is in the right direction that I'm going to be putting it on the page. Now, another way you can fill in this triangle corner space is before I showed how I made the 5x5 squares as the background, so you can actually cut the paper into that background rather than making these triangles, but I mainly did it this way to save on pattern paper. Alright, now it's the easy part, and I just need to glue the corners in the right spaces on the quarter pie die cuts. So I just stick some glue into each corner and kind of in the center, and it fits right in the outline. And so that's what's nice about this die is having this die, you can make a pie shape by hand, but this makes it so much easier. You know where everything's gonna go. So sticking everything in place is so easy. And here I'm doing it again, gluing and putting it right in the corner. There's no need to figure out where anything goes or measure. It's super easy. Now I'm finishing this up, and all I need to do now is fill in the rest of my circle with this pie die. Before I start cutting, I'm going to show you my page again real quick. As you can see, there's all these pie shapes. So what you want to be aware is that each of them goes a different direction. So you definitely want to pre-plan your photos before you start cutting them, because you want to make sure that they're going to go in the right direction you want on your page. So just be aware of that and definitely pre-plan. So this photograph is going to go more on the top half of my circle, so I made sure the pointed part of my pie die was pointed down. So I guess I would keep that in mind as a rule, sort of for the photos going on the top half of the circle, the skinny part's going to be pointed down, whereas on the bottom half of the pie circle, it's going to actually be the wide part that's going to be on the bottom. So right now I'm doing part of the top of my circle, so you notice that these photos, they're all, the skinny part is pointed down. For this photo, it kind of didn't matter because it's just donuts that are close up. So this one, you know, some of your photos may be fun details that it doesn't matter which direction goes. But this one here is, you can see I put the pie in the landscape direction, and I made sure the skinny part was pointed towards the left because that's how it's going to look on my page. So you just want to pay attention to which way you're cutting your pie die on your photo. And see, now I'm making sure the wide part is on the bottom of my photograph because it's going to go at the bottom of my pie shape. All right, so I'm going to speed through the rest of the cuts, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, everything is finally cut, so now I just need to glue on each piece. So after cutting it, maybe you'll be able to see why I cut it in the direction I did. So right now I'm gluing on the pieces where I made sure the pointed part was on the bottom. And as you can see, if I did it the other way, they would have looked upside down on my circle, so I didn't want that. So as I'm filling this in, hopefully you can see that I did cut with intention. I wanted to make sure that each of these photos were put in the right direction. So now you'll start to see how I was careful to make sure the wide part was at the bottom of these photos I am currently filling in. I really like detail shots like this crab photo I just put down. I really like this pie shape because it makes those photos look a little more fun, I think. So I definitely would try that at home. So as you can see, I put more of the landscape photographs more on the on either side and not so much at the bottom and top. Anyway, my last piece and I am done. So I really like how this page turned out. This is actually my first time using these dies, so maybe that's a surprise to you, but yeah, so I really like how it looks in the end, and I think it makes a wonderful year in review layout. It's different from the usual squares and rectangles. So yeah, I definitely would give this one a try if you're looking for something different. So if you found this video helpful, definitely give it a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to be updated on more videos like this one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and see more on mosaicmoments.com.